Coming the other way, a group that's taken the same gamble. They all live in a rebel-held district where food is scarce, so they run back and forth to get some. They wait for gaps in the gunfire, but you can feel their fear, and they are weary. They've endured this every day for 6 weeks. Then it's time to go. They head for the dead ground, hugging the wall, clutching their bread. Once they cross, the battle begins again. The regime's men and rebels at close quarters. Very close. War for control of Damascus hinges on a few crucial battlegrounds like this one, where the rebels in one stronghold, and they are just around that corner, are trying to link up with others just a mile away. If they break through, then the battle is taken to the very center of this city. But these men are not regular soldiers. They're locals, trained for a month and given weapons by the army. Some are students, living through history if they're lucky. This is deadly. It's a war across wasteland for an entire suburb. Hundreds of thousands used to live here, but back streets are deserted now. Exodus again in the Middle East. We're taken to another frontline position, through holes smashed in walls, to a war of snipers and single shots. Rebels are just across the street. From the regime's sniper position, they see a rebel gunman use a mirror to spot his enemy. It's a fight for survival. At the bakery, the demand is intense. People fear flour may run out soon. Then back they go to brave the gunfire again to feed their families. Do you believe it will end soon? We pray it will, he says. God willing. But on the streets of Damascus, people are dying every day in a war that has now claimed close to 70,000 lives. These men believe they're fighting terrorists, rebels, a brutal dictator. And in the middle, caught in the crossfire, Syrians are running for their lives.
Well, voters in Jordan will go to the polls a day later as Wednesday's parliamentary elections are taking place at an extremely sensitive time for a nation that is pivotal in the Middle East. CNN's Mohammed Jamjoum reports.
For people, oil prices, fuel prices.
Jordan's Muslim Brotherhood, which organized this rally, feels it's been treated unfairly. The group's leaders say that a new electoral law does not guarantee equal representation. This boycott has Jordan on edge, threatening to undermine the legitimacy of an election meant to showcase promised reforms.
The outcome of this election, the country's first since the Arab Spring, is key for this volatile region. Allies like the U.S. are watching closely. Jordan is the most stable and non-threatening country bordering Israel.
In a capital blanketed by banners, a mood of cynicism remains. Jordanians will vote in the midst of an economic crisis, one so dire that violent clashes broke out in November when an end to fuel subsidies was announced. The government maintains it is committed to free and fair elections. European Union observers are even on the ground to try to ensure a fair and transparent voting process. Still, for many, that's not enough.
The regime has to understand that it has to take the basic demands for change, for accountability, for wider representation, for transparency seriously.
And you feel they haven't taken it seriously?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Uncertainty aside, analyst and commentator Lamis Andani tells me that while there is anger and apathy among potential voters here, the outlook isn't critical. Yet.
If the economic situation continues to deteriorate, then we'll have a dangerous situation, not from the Brotherhood itself, but from an uprising of the hungry.
Campaigning continues as uncertainty grows, especially for the youth of the country, acknowledging the seriousness of the problems they face.
Lack of trust, lack of belief that there is a bright future for them. People don't have job security. People leaving universities are not finding jobs.
The kind of problems many say Jordan just can't afford at such an important time. Mohammed Jamjoom, CNN, Amman.
Well, Prince Harry is returning from a 5-month tour of duty in Afghanistan after serving at Camp Bastion as pilot attack helicopter. CNN's royal correspondent Max Foster has more on that story.
They call this VHR, Very High Readiness. It might look like downtime, but the call to fly can come at any time. It happened once in the middle of an interview.
It wasn't done in the wrong way, but it was just...
It wasn't just being able to do his job that made Harry value his deployment to Afghanistan so highly. It was the simplicity of his life out here.
Prince Harry stayed in these simple containers when he was here in Camp Bastion. It's a far cry from the palaces he grew up in.
And when he was working overnights, things were even more basic.
This is my bed. I don't really make it when I'm down here, which is a joy. That's it, made. A Paradigm phone. So this is as much privacy as one would get.
It was while he was out here that Harry received news that his sister-in-law, the Duchess of Cambridge, was expecting a baby.
Can't wait to be an uncle. I think it's very unfair that they were forced to publicise it when they were, but that's just the media for you. But I just only hope that she gets the necessary protection to allow her as a mother-to-be to enjoy the privacy that comes with. It's too much light there, that's the thing. Yeah, I think it is.
Harry's own privacy is clearly a concern for the prince as well, and he made little attempt to hide it.
I never wanted you guys to be out here, but there was an agreement made to invite you out on the deal that the media didn't speculate before my deployment. That's the only reason you guys are out here.
Back home, the media glare will inevitably be brighter, and the pressure back on to find a partner.
If you find the right person and everything feels right, then it takes time, especially for myself and my brother. You ain't ever going to find someone who's going to jump into the position that it would hold. Simple as that.
Perhaps Harry's main interests himself will be getting back out to the front line as soon as he can. Max Foster, CNN, Camp Bastion, Afghanistan.
We now take our second break. Sports is next. Stay tuned.
Lucozade Energy, energizing Gambia.
Welcome back to Grts News, and time now to join Fatou Jassy for a look at the sports news. Fatou?
Thank you very much, Aissatou. UEFA President Michel Platini has commended AC Milan player Kevin Prince Boateng for walking up the pitch after being racially abused by fans during a recent game. Boateng's decision was followed off the pitch by his teammates, who also supported the former spouse midfielder, which resulted in the cancelling of the match. CNN's Pedro Pinto brings us up to speed with how FIFA is preparing to end racism in football.
President Michel Platini has spoken out for the first time about a recent high-profile case of racism in football. In an interview with a French radio station, Platini praised AC Milan player Kevin Prince Boateng for walking off the pitch after being racially abused during a friendly earlier this month. You may recall the Ghanaian midfielder decided to leave the game against Pro Patria after being subjected to monkey chants. He was followed off the field by his teammates and the match was abandoned. FIFA President Sepp Blatter had said a couple of weeks ago that players shouldn't take matters into their own hands, but Platini has a different opinion. This is what he said, and I quote, "It was wonderful. I really liked it a lot. I even called AC Milan to congratulate them," end quote. The Frenchman did add that UEFA already had regulations in place should racial abuse take place During Champions League or Europa League games, fans will be warned twice through the public address system if their behavior